Mr. Goldsmith?
Correct. Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Goldsmith, I'm Judge O'Brien. I'm going to read you your rights, and then I'm going to talk to you about the charges that are placed on you. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right and obligation to be present at your trial. If you fail to show up for your trial, they'll place failure to appear charges against you, and you could face an additional 1 to 5 years in jail. You have the right to a trial by jury. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be provided for you through the public defender's office. If the charges that are placed on you are discharged, dismissed, not prosecuted, or if you're found not guilty, you have the right to have your record expunged and wiped clean from these charges. Now, you're being charged with a criminal offense, and if you were found guilty, you were facing serious consequences, which may include the payment of a fine, the loss of your driver's license, and the possibility of a jail sentence. In addition, you may face increased penalties for later convictions, the loss of your right to possess firearms or ammunition, and your immigration status could be affected. You have important constitutional rights, including the right to representation by an attorney, but you may lose those rights or waive them if you do not act to protect those rights. You have the right to hire an attorney to represent you in every case. If you cannot afford an attorney, you may be eligible for a free attorney. If you want a determination made as to whether you are qualified for a free lawyer, then it is your obligation to be screened at the location identified in paragraph 5C of the bond checklist form that I'm going to give you today. If you do not hire an attorney or go to be screened, then you may be found to have waived your right to an attorney at your trial. You also have the right to represent yourself. However, you should be aware that self-representation can be dangerous. For example, there may be certain factual or legal defenses to your charge that you are not aware of, or legal issues related to the conduct of your trial or guilty plea that an attorney would know how to preserve for an appeal. If you exercise your right to proceed without a lawyer, then you are responsible for complying with all applicable rules of court, including rules of evidence, procedural rules, and proper behavior before the judge and jury. If convicted on the charges filed against you and ordered to pay a fine, you may request a reasonable scheduled payment plan to pay that fine. It is your obligation to keep up with your trial date and to obtain an attorney, either by hiring one or by being screened and found eligible for a court-appointed attorney prior to your trial date. If you do not appear at your trial with your attorney, you may be deemed to have waived your right to have an attorney represent you. And finally, you are required to keep the court notified of any changes of your address until the completion of your case. Do you understand so far, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're being charged with attempted murder, possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime, possession of a weapon by a convicted violent felon, possession of marijuana, and possession of cocaine. All 5 of these charges are general sessions charges, so you have the right of a preliminary hearing. The preliminary hearing is an evidence hearing where the state has to show that they have the evidence to take you to court. If you want that hearing, take the form I'm going to give you and fill it out. You can mail it or take it to the address on the form, or you can fill it out tonight and give it back to me. But you only have a total of 10 days to get that form turned in. Otherwise, you lose your right to that hearing. Now, it's my understanding, is it Ms. Turner? Are you Jessica? Who is she then? I thought she was a victim.
That's our
Oh, okay. All right, so, sir, I'm going to place 3 conditions on your bond. Number 1, you're not to have any contact with the victim. Number 2, you're already not supposed to be in possession of any weapons, but that is also going to be a condition of your bond. You are not weapons whatsoever. And thirdly, I'm going to be placing you on home incarceration with a GPS ankle bracelet if you do make bond. Now, I look back at your recent record. You're on bond right now for several other charges. And I've also noticed that you have, in the recent past, had a tremendous number of failure to appears. My fear, number one, is that you're going to be a danger to the victim and the danger to the community. And number two, with your failure to appear, is that you're going to be a flight risk. Therefore, I'm going to no bond you on all 5 charges, and I'm going to send you to the circuit court for a bond hearing. Your next court date will be sometime in the next 30 days. I can't tell you if it'll be 3 days from now or 30 days from now. That'll have to be set by the solicitor's office. But at that point in time, it will be up to them to decide as to whether to grant you a bond or to keep you in jail until your court date. Do you have any questions, sir?
Yeah, I get a simple murder if I shot somebody in the lead.
Because people have died from having been shot in the leg before, hit an artery, and they bleed out and they die. So if you used a weapon, then they're charging you with attempted murder for the possibility of you possibly killing that person. Okay? Now, I don't know whether you're innocent or guilty. Okay? That'll be up to the circuit court judge and the jury to decide as to whether you are guilty or innocent. But that is what you're being charged with at this point. Do you have any other questions?
No, I'm just going to something from you.
Come on down to the window.
You on song? You got to. You still gotta get your paper. Yeah.